Welcome everybody to game number one of this Fox Invitational best of five between Team Down Under and Fox. We've got Aussies and Kiwis taking on the Frenchies. And we're going into game number one on Arabia. This will obviously be a biased cast. I'm all in supporting my team. And we're going to start off with Razor here, playing as the Vietnamese as the flank on the right hand side. And we see that instantly we've got two scouts going forwards as the Vietnamese, going to try to get some lanes in, but they are on board. Chinese players instantly taking his forward ball, potentially maybe getting this ball on the right hand side, could be pretty strong. But if we go back, we continue looking at the players. We have Flightless Bird playing as the Frank's Pocket, and then on the other side we have Soxy playing as the Koreans. Their opposition, as we saw, we have Blue, Chinese, Magyar Pocket, and then the Mayans over on the other side. We see Razor's just sitting next to the boar. Where did the Flight Scout go? Oh, he's running around the other side, okay. But it seems that Siscan has been quite lucky and he has found all of his sheep really quickly, and then he's also getting his boar in at a pretty reasonable time. So unfortunately, the all-in lame strat hasn't really worked out. I guess they could potentially deny his deer, but they are going to be a little bit set behind because they haven't been pushing their own deer. Now they're going to have to travel all the way back to their side of the map, which is, it's quite a bit of wasted walking time, unfortunately. As we see, like especially for Mr. Flight, not a lot of scouting going on. He knows where his extra sheep are, but he doesn't seem to know where his deer are. This patch, yeah, which is actually that's incredibly far away, deer patch as well. Thanks, Arabia. So, unfortunately, the laming strats just has not had the impact we would like, and even Razor taking one free hit there as he runs past. But to be fair, Siscan has done a pretty good job. He's got about a vill and a half of idle time, which is pretty close to perfect for Chinese. I think you can get it down to about 30 seconds if you're really on point. So 34 seconds is pretty solid. And then I'm going to be expecting just the standard beget builds from most players trying to go up on 18, maybe 19 pop on the outset. And then obviously Chinese going for their equivalent, which would be 20, 21 pop. And then playing very, very aggressive archers, very, very aggressive scouts. I should do predictions as well. Let's quickly do that. Since we've got a little bit of time. I'll only give you a minute though, since I'm doing it quite late in the day. But we'll get that going in case there's anyone that is in the chat and cares to do the predictions. We see Loom coming in for the pocket already. Did we get the lame? No, unfortunately, we got absolutely nothing. We got a full circle, but Blue had basically found all of his sheep before they got there, and then he got his front boar very, very early, and then he just defended his back boar on the side. So, the lame strat did not pay off, unfortunately. And we see the players starting to go up. We've got 18 pop from the Magyars. We've got 19 pop, which is the equivalent of 18 pop from the Mayan flank. Then all of the Aussies are doing 18, 19, and 19. And the Siscan is just a little bit delayed, it seems. Just waiting for this. He's doing another villager? Oh, I think that's a mistake. He should have been able to click up. If he just force dropped his deer vills, I think he could have clicked up before making this vill. But now he's going to be, what, like a minute and a half slower to feudal age almost compared to Razor. And then those archers with the extra HP as well. Could be, Siscan didn't have a second building. Oh, that's Titanic. Oh, yeah, and his minor camp's only. Oh, whew, that's a potato move. If I've seen one. What a blunder indeed. Hey, Nerfox, how's it going? Sec PLP hotkey. The laming's put him off, so it seems. I would guess in that case that we're going to see Green playing on his side, but his scout is currently just running through the middle of the map. But I think if I was Siscan, I would just be full on complaining, like, yo, I'm really late to Feudal Age, you need to place scouts on my side so that I don't die. But it seems that they're going to try to double Soxy instead. Potentially try to deny an archery range or two, but he's got very, very nice. Kind of backwood, back gold, pretty backberries. I'd probably build the two ranges next to this house, trying to gain some control over this hill to defend the berries. Ah, that's good to hear, Novax. And we see the two rangers coming up, two rangers coming up, obviously the stable. Poor Mr. Siscan, absolutely nothing going on. Oh, but we're gonna maybe see a lame right there. Soxy. Oh, and he's even losing a sheep as well. Yeah, you should always keep your early villages. If there's like multiple, if there's only one or two villas, they need to be on the same side and potentially be walled in on exposed resources like this. But we do see the double scouts really threatening to mess with Soxy right here. Like even just the idle time on his lumberjacks is going to slow down his blacksmith and his mill transition. Just a little bit of, and we do see that Soxy's sending injured villagers back to gold, and he's even had to commit to a spearman, which, considering that he's also lost a sheep, is actually quite an expensive investment. Because you don't have all that much food to spend, and we do see like the idle time, starting to roll up. We see two scouts on the other side though, trying to do similar laming shenanigans to Siscan. Siscan's going to the berries quite late, to be honest. Unfortunately, their Razor does lose the scout to the TC. But I would guess that Siscan's just not going to have the food for fletching for a while. Let's go take a look. I guess he has two vills queued up already. And we see both the flight scouts, so we're going to see a double going in on the Chinese side, whereas Toin Toin is sending his scouts just straight to pocket. Birdie does lose a villager there, so he's trying to get a little bit of a wall off between these two wood lines. And even just like walling in these villages like this means they're going to be bumping a ton and not working very efficiently. The question is, does Birdie send his scouts home? No, he does not. He's just going to try to defend this, it seems, with a spearman and his villagers. But these are Magyar scouts, remember. They do have that +1 attack. So they are very, very fast at jumping in and sniping villagers. But we see over here for Blue, we've got archers and scouts in his base already. He's only got a couple of archers. He's got his own fletching, though. But remember, we are against Koreans, so they've also got free armor upgrade. So they're in a... Oh no, Koreans are on the other side, sorry. We've got Vietnamese here, so they've got extra HP on their archers. So as long as Razor's micro is somewhat even, he should be doing pretty well here. We do see the scouts, though, swinging in from the back from Toin Toin. Razor, unfortunately, not being walled, but to be honest, it wouldn't have mattered because the back is completely open. Birdie might have to swing his scouts back at... Oh, and we've even seen Teal just going straight to the pocket. Holy balls. Where is Soxy's scout? Soxy must have lost his scout earlier in the game, but oh, and then this is just a horrible tower to build. Because really, it does not defend the berries or the gold. I think Birdie's dead, unfortunately. Because, there's not very much food left on the berries, but the archers could just sit on this hill. They can just go sit on the other side of this gold, and the tower doesn't even go up. The very, very bad tower that doesn't actually achieve anything doesn't even get finished. The scout does almost die under the TC. But at the same time, oh, they've lost all their army on the front. We have forced the defensive rod from Siscan on his goals. He has lost his berry, so he's never going to really get to Castle Age. But the amount of damage that Birdless has taken right now is absolutely significant. And we see at the back, Soxy's trying to get a counterattack going, and it's just not really paying off. Even with the armor upgrade that he gets for free, he is losing. Reinforcements is obviously much faster for PLP. And then now we see Soxy sending some of his archers to try to help out Bird, but there's still all the green scouts here. So Siscan has done an absolutely wonderful job here, to be honest, defending the 2v1 pressure. Where are Birdie's scouts right now? It looks like they're just continuing to try to be aggressive. They're heading towards green right now. Got a blacksmith coming up, so he's going to go for armor pretty soon. And now they've decided, okay, we've done so much damage to Birdie. Let's just continue. Let's just go round. And we're going to attack the back of Soxy's base. 8 scouts. He could probably take this fight, but I guess he probably wants to wait for armor before he forces that sort of engagement. And of course, just jumping back and forth and trying to snipe any exposed archers like this. Although saying that, PLP is doing a pretty good job there with the micro. Soxy's paying attention somewhere else, it seems. And then all those archers go down for just a single kill. And unfortunately, the KDs are not the best. Soxy's going even, but everybody else on the team is just absolutely far in the negative. And then Birdie just on the 1 to 6 eco KD, and even getting harassed here on his wood line. And Soxy's even going for double Vidax. I'm not a huge fan of that. Going for double Vidax at this stage of the game. I mean, I guess he doesn't have a ton of food, but you're never really going to get a competitive castle age time if you're spending 100 food. And then just the tower gets killed because it's so exposed by these feudal age scouts. And the walls that Toin has set up are pretty good. He's got a ton of scouts at home, while still having a huge mass of scouts forwards. So almost either of these fights, he has, you know, equal numbers with Bird. Obviously, Bird does have the free half bloodlines that Franks get, but at some point in time, Toin is going to get back on goal and be able to get bloodlines, and then he has the HP advantage. Okay, Soxy's still here chasing around Teal's army, and while this is going on, Teal is just macroed his way up to Castle Age. He's used the market, he's doing some buying and some selling. And then he's going to be on the way up, and then, obviously, because he's done... let's go back the other way. Because he's done double bid axe, right? He could have 550 food and 100 wood, which he could easily sell and buy 100 food and be basically clicking up. I think if you're going to do double bid axe, you almost need to commit to doing it at the start of the the start of feudal age, and go up like a little bit later. You go up 20 pop, you do double bid axe, and then you do fletching. Oh, and all of this army is going to get cleaned up. They're killing a handful of Greensvilles, but they're losing all of their army to do it. Like, the overall bill counts are fairly equivalent, but remember, Teal is halfway up to Castle Age. He did delete a house here to let his scouts back in. And even so, like, Toin's only lost 3 vills. He's only lost 3 vills from all that damage. Birdie lost 6 vills, you know, 8 minutes ago in the game. And the earlier that you lose vills, the more it impacts your eco, because you have villagers working, or you have less villagers working for a longer period of time. And now we're seeing Siscan on the way up to Castle Age. Birdie's obviously not going up anytime soon. Razor is close to clicking up. He's continuing to poke forwards and backwards with his mix of archers and skirms. But I think the Castle Age time from Toin might be a killer, to be honest. Birdie's also has to stop scout production just so that he can try to click up. Whereas I wouldn't be surprised if Toin makes another couple of scouts and then goes for the light cav upgrade once he hits the Castle Age. Yeah, now they see the crossbows. And he has more archers, at least here forwards, because obviously Soxy's got some back at home. And as soon as he gets crossbow and Bodkin, he's just not really chilling. He's not worried at all at this stage. Bird's getting raided again. Oh, and then Blue's swung into his base. I'm not gonna lie, like, Birdie's obviously got absolutely punished at the start, but part of that is on the flanks for not keeping track of their direct opponent's army, not tracking where they're going, what they're doing, and then just letting them freely walk into Birdie's base with no reinforcements nearby to save him. Oh, he's gonna lose so many more villagers. Hey, Happy Boy, how's it going? Yeah, I streamed a little bit back in 2019, 2020 when I was living in the UK. And then life got busy and... Oh, okay, they just got a wall to get in. And Soxy's army is in a weird position. Like, you can go hide underneath the Korean guard tower, which is definitely useful, but... The scouts, they're just gonna dive in. They don't care. Oh, thank you for the raid, my man. And Bird is just so far away from Castle Age. And Soxy's losing so many bills. I honestly think that it's probably time to call it. Like, look at Bird's score compared to the other pockets. 1,000 points behind already at minute 23. And here we do see the light cap upgrade coming in. Unfortunately, the scouts can't easily leave. So they are taking a bunch of damage as they run into the TC. But Soxy is just about to lose his entire wood line, so he's never getting ballistics. We see the Teal already has ballistics. So... I mean, I guess he's building the uni. How much wood does he actually have? Oh, I keep going the wrong way. I need to get used to this. He's only got 100 wood. And it's not like he's got a decent amount of gold, so he could potentially buy the other 200. But while this is going on, like, his eco is just such a mess. He's got so much idle time right now. And then, oh, Birdie, oh, Birdie's getting bullied again. And remember, he built a tower, so he can't even add TCs in Castle Age. Not that he's really in a position to do that anyway, but it just completely removes the option of doing that. Oh, Birdie's lost so many kills. We do actually see the second TC coming up for Toin Toin. Both the flanks staying 1 TC, as they do. Oh, and then just the early knights are coming in to clean up Razor's army, with the support from Siskin's army. Ah, no, thank you. Thank you, Happy Boy. Ah, being an admin is... Oh, another raid. Yeah, it's a fun thing to do most of the time. I mean, sometimes it isn't, but most of the time it is. So it is its own reward in some ways. Oh yeah, but Toin Toin has actually played this game incredibly well. The early gank on Soxy, and then going straight to flight with his early scouts. And then while he was doing that, Siskan did an absolutely amazing defense to just not get absolutely killed versus the scouts and archer combination from Flight and Razor at the start of the game. Even Soxy's got some random crossbows over on the side of the map. And just constantly, always chasing the army from Fox from side to side. There's never any sort of aggressive pressure, except for that small raid that they did to Toin Toin, but then they lost all of their army doing it. Whereas we see the Frenchies, they're constantly doing their best to hit and run, hit and run. They're never trying to force a fight unless there's no option. Right, and then, like, while this fight's going on, the Lycav and just a huge mass of knights are rolling in. Bird's not even on wood at the moment. He has to send all of his villas to gold so that he can try to make knights. He's like, oh, you're raiding my wood line? There's only one villager there. I don't care. But, yeah, Bird's vill count is GG, honestly. And, like, while this is going on, Soxy's trying to, like, out-micro the ballistics right here. And Teal just doesn't even care. He's just sitting there. I guess we do have a counter raid coming in from Soxy. He's killed a couple of villagers and crossbows forwards. But it's a little bit too late. And, like, Teal just has such a huge army mass right here. Like, he's just going to easily clean this. All the while... Birdie can't afford to make knights to defend, and they're just going to kill his TC almost. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if they just sat there and killed it, but I guess they're going to spread over this way. Just as Razor goes for a second TC, a horde of knights is just going to roll in. He's continuing to try to make something happen on the front lines, but he's just got so few crossbows compared to Blue. Oh. If Toin Toin notices this is obviously going to be a denied TC, but it looks like he's just going to dive the gold instead. Which, honestly, I don't think it matters what decision they make at this point. The Frenchies are so far ahead that they can win this from any sort of Titanic. Like, honestly, I think any one of their players could just delete their entire army and they're probably still going to win. Which is, not a great situation to be in. Yeah, you see the Knight's getting in on the wood line, all the crossbows are dying, so there's no way he can defend this. And then Flight is completely dead. And is unable to come save him as well. He's just down to 18 villagers. Overall, we're 70 vills behind and 50 army. So it's definitely over. Maybe they're just still going to get a bit of warm up going, warm up their fingers, get themselves ready. But okay, there's the GG. Yeah, I'm glad because honestly, I didn't want to have to keep going. That was gonna be. Oh yeah, Soxy's just warming up a little bit. Oof, we don't even need to see the statistics. We're just gonna bail right out of this. Yeah, no, we're done with that game. We're just gonna forget that that game even happened. So we got a win with Mayans, got a win with Chinese, and a win with Magyars. And then we have a loss with the Franks. We have a loss with the Vietnamese. Oops, wrong number. And a loss with Koreans. So there's definitely much higher Civ prioritization for Fox. They've used their first pick and then their first 2 picks in the second row, whereas we have our third pick and our last 2 picks in the second row. I didn't want to cast this game anymore. Pragmatic caster. I mean, yeah. I'm not going to pretend that I'm like T90 or Dave. Like, I'm entirely, incredibly uh, entertaining personality. When the game is over, I say that it's over. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So we're going to be going into one of our home maps. We're going to be seeing BF or Arena coming up. Looking at the civs that Fox have, they don't really have any incredibly obvious BF or Arena civs. I guess you could say Spanish is pretty decent for both. Poles and Burgundians are decent arena pockets. Portuguese and Malay are both okay. But like they don't have a single SO civ except for Aztecs that we've given them. So I don't know what their plan is going to be on BF without a very good SO civ. Interesting that they gave you Bengali instead of Goths. Yeah, no, that was not what I was expecting seeing that go in. Like Bengalis is it's a pretty decent civ, right? They're pretty good for water maps. Team Islands is one of the maps we're playing. It's pretty good for arena. They've got monks and helms and elephant archers, so they can do a pretty good flank. They can even be a pocket and just boom into elephant archers, but that's a bit dicey sometimes. They're an okay BF flank because they can fast dip monks and trebs. And honestly, they're probably not a horrible Desert Paradise flank. Like they're definitely not S tier flank civ, but they're not a horrible one. So it seems really, really weird. I guess they just decided that was their second gift, I should say. So like maybe they saw that we gave them Aztecs, and then they decided, hey, actually we don't want Bengalis. We want to use Aztecs instead. I guess Aztecs is a good arena flank. To be fair, going for big monks. Maybe they saw students and went, yeah, nah. Potentially, potentially, but I don't think like Aztecs really helps them in that regard. I guess I think Bengalis are probably more useful if you're not playing monks than Aztecs are. Because what else can you do with Aztecs on arena? I mean, to be fair, like the overall civ balance of the game, especially with a varied map pool like this, is you're almost always going to be able to find a use for a civ somewhere, right? Like obviously it may not be the best option, but there is some use case for it somewhere. It does look like we're going to be playing Arena as game number 2, so let's put that number up there. You can do Siege Tower Eagles. I mean, I guess that's true. Or maybe Siege Tower Longswords. Let me just go update Wikipedia while we're waiting, because I'm a good guy like that. That's Bird and Soxy. And then we had Vietnamese, Franks, and Koreans. Chinese, Magyars, and Mayans. And map 2 is Arena. Boom, there we are. Siege Tower converts stables into Jolossals. Oh, Panda with the biggest of brains. I lurk and go and have a great time. No, thank you, man. Thank you for the raid as well. Hope you enjoyed hanging out. Hope to see you again in the future. Oh, that was a game 1 of the series. Definitely not the way you want to start in any situation. But game 2 is just about to get going. So we're going to quickly chuck up an ad while we wait for the spec delay. And then we'll be into it. Arena. So let's see. Civs wise. I mean, I definitely think our civs are a lot stronger, to be honest. But we'll talk about that a little bit once we get into the game. Hey T West, how's it going? How is your morning? Waking up and getting ready to stream something or other? I don't know. Is there TTL on today? What day is it? Today's Wednesday. No, there's no TTL on Wednesday. I don't know. What are you going to be doing today, Travis? You got any cool YouTube videos in the work? Well, Spectre is almost complete. Going to be going to game number 2 on Arena. The Down Under home map. Going for a closed map. Going for anything to get away from the baguette builds, it seems. Don't want to deal with that Arabia shenanigans. Why did the images go away? Silly capture age. Huh? We will jump into game number 2, going into Arena. And Civ-wise, we've got Soxy here as the Chuden flank. We're potentially going to see big Trush. We have a Cumin Pocket, probably going to go for a big Feudal Boom. And then we have Flightless Bird playing as the Turks on the flank. So we're going to be going into probably Castle Drop Jans. On the opposite side, Turks versus Spanish is an interesting matchup. Because earlier, like the earlier in the game it is, Turks are just significantly better because of the 1 extra range and your unit is cheaper, so you can more easily afford production. And then if you go for a fast imp strategy of some description, the free chemistry and early bombard cannons is really powerful. But then once the Spanish player gets upgrades on their conks, they get bloodlines, they get husbandry, they get the armor upgrades, then suddenly they outclass the Jannies quite significantly. But you had to invest a ton of resources in getting to that stage, and potentially you're just dying to bombard cannons already by that point. But we continue around. We've got poles. Probably going to do a bit of a mini boom into a Night Flood to try to match Cumans, would be my guess. And then finally we have the Aztecs flank. Yep, FC civs on each other, and we're potentially going to see Aztecs do some feudal shenanigans if they're worried about a Chuden Trush. We have seen in the Oz draft matches that one game, a Chuden Trush absolutely defeated their flank, and then the next time someone tried it, the flank just did a drush and made 3 militia and did loom and then just sent their vills outside and they fought off the trush and just completely negated the entire point of the strategy. If the Chudens don't get to build any towers, if you deny that very first tower, you're in a brilliant position to not die. Oh, Litical's here as well. How is Calls of Arms going? We do see 4 on wood though from Soxy, so to me that definitely does not indicate a trush. It looks like it's just going to be probably a boom. Maybe go up with a stable if you're worried about a smush. But going for monks when the enemy has the Chuden bonus is a little bit sus, in my opinion. It's very a strange idea to go for that, in my opinion. Just the 2 on wood for Cumans makes sense. He wants to get up to feudal age really fast and try to get that TC rolling. Let's go down under. Damn right. That's what we want, Kiwi. Get the cheers going. Oh, I forgot to do the predictions for the first game. I'll pay out the predictions, but I'm not going to do another one because it's too late already. Relic distribution clearly favors down under. Do I want to zoom out or do I want to zoom in? I can't see anything if I zoom out, so we'll just zoom in and we'll get the minimap out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, it's very slightly favoring them. Because you could argue that having 2 incredibly safe relics for green and then 2 contested relics is better than having, maybe 1 safe relic and then 3 contested relics. Music is very loud in comparison to the in-game sound. It's definitely not intentional. I'm still figuring out how to, Oh, that's not it. Why don't I just boost the in-game sound so that I don't have to hear it? That would be smart. How is that? Is that better? The distribution is high risk, but also high reward. Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like as I said, the 4 relics slightly favors Australia, but in the correct circumstances, you could definitely favor the Fox position. Very good. Ah, excellent. I'm slowly figuring out how to do this whole streamer thing. Yeah, we don't see anyone up to feudal age except for Razor. Oh, actually, Birdie. Birdie's up really fast. 22 pop. He's going to gold, so he's definitely doing an FC, but he's not on stone. So 22 pop boom with Turks. That's a little bit sus in my opinion. Fox is also being very sensible. They're keeping their scouts hidden inside their walls because they know that the human player is going to be fast feudal with the extra speed and the extra attack. So they want to keep their scouts safe until they also have the feudal attack. Also not going to stone yet for Siscan. So we're just going to see neither of the flanks go for a castle drop? But now Flightless Bird's building a barracks. Oh, he's vintage trushing. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I want to do an experiment with a version of Arena where relics are visible from the start and see how that affects the feudal and castle age fight. You mean play with Burmese? I think that this is a very, very questionable idea. I think that trushing Spanish is not great. Like, if anything, I would expect the Spanish player to trush the Turks, because I would say that the Turks have a better castle age unique unit than the Spanish does, and they have a better fast imp. So this seems incredibly counterintuitive to me. The Spanish player is actually not on stone though, he's got a ton of villages on wood. So there's not going to be a defensive castle to clean this up. Let's go take a look at the resources. I guess this guy's... He's still got 2 sheep under the TC, but I think he's got too many villas on wood, unless he's planning on selling some wood and buying some food. Oh, I say that and he's just dropped off food and he's getting close. And Birdie, you forgot to finish the archery range. The whole point of the Vinch Trush is to make archers. Mangoes can kind of hold burst Turks. I mean, yes, but then the Turk player just moves onto the pocket, right? And you hurt 2 players. Yeah, this is a really good defense by Siscan. You get the houses up, and then you wall towards this wood line. I guess in theory, the next tower from Flightless Bird is going to deny the berries. He's only just going to stone though, so the second tower is going to take quite a while to go up. On this side, we see a very, very late feudal age from Aztec. So this is clearly a fast imp monk treb play from PLB here. I don't know if that's a great idea, seeing as you would expect by the time you hit imp, the human player is going to have a bunch of Lycav. But I guess at the same time, you would hope that the pole player has a bunch of knights starting to come out to try to match that. Doesn't seem ideal. Okay, we are forcing up the defensive tower to keep the market standing. But I guess the blacksmith has also been quite slow. Where are you going, Bird? I don't think that's a good idea. I think that you should continue around and just try to bust in someplace else. Because like, there's nothing stopping you from just leaving. You don't have to commit to this trush. Like, now that fletching is just about to come in, there's potential that this tower even gets denied, or it's going to be a little bit too high a percentage, but he might lose a villager if he's not paying attention. Okay, the tower does go up. But like, the whole point of the Vinch Trush is that you put the archers inside the tower instead of the vills. So that your vills can continue making more towers and doing, you know, trushy things. Okay, but Soxy's up to the castle. He's the first player to castle. And he's going for a monastery. He's got the wood for a TC, and he's got a decent amount of gold in the bank, so he could buy anything that he needs. Okay, I think they've recognized... Yeah, they've recognized that the Aztec's doing fast imp, and then so he's just going to go for his own fast imp to try to counter that. I think he might struggle a little bit to get the food up. I mean, he's got a decent number of farms. He's got the buildings going up, and I think he'll probably be okay. Pole's Night Flood should start at around minute 22. Cumin should be there at minute 20. True. Also, his third TC is quite delayed there, if I'm being honest. Oh, and an unfortunate house position means you can only get 7 farms around that 4 instead of the proper 8. Definitely not ideal. Which is stable. And the blacksmith coming up for Razor. He's not quite at the food count he needs to go up, but going with the stable instead of the market. I mean, it's definitely what he needs in the long term, but sometimes having the market to just buy 100 food to get you over the last little hump there can be a good idea. Oh. 6 even going... Oh, 6 really just clicked up. What? I guess he's made so many villages because his feudal age was delayed and doing the fletching that makes sense. Maybe I would have greeted it too much and I instead would have gone... Tried to click up Castle Age first and then gotten fletching. And it seems that Flight has actually lost quite a few archers. What's this kitty? Yeah, he's lost 3 archers, unfortunately, to the towers. Which does hamper his trushing ability. We see the castle coming up for PLP. Soxy is now starting to mine stone. He's just about ready to click up. So even though he was going for just a standard FC boom, by the looks of it, he's actually going to match the imp time for PLP. The forward castle, though, is going to potentially be a little bit of a problem. Toin is just suddenly swinging a bunch of villages onto stone because he realizes, hey, I need to build a castle very, very soon if I want to start flooding. And he is very, very far away from that position. We see Razor's only a minute away from hitting castle. So he's going to be a sub 20 minute castle age behind the Cuban boom. He doesn't have a lot of villas on gold, though. I wouldn't mind if he just, like, took all these villas off wood and built another mining camp on this gold. And, like, these farms surrounding the gold is a little bit unfortunate because he can't place another mining camp to, well, he can place a bad mining camp, but he can't, like, fully saturate his gold like he would want to. Soxy has sold... He hasn't sold any stone, but he wants to save it so he can build his own castle, it seems. Which definitely seems reasonable. He's going for monk techs of his own. The 2 monasteries are out for the Aztecs. Oh yeah, true, he is up faster. He's up... He's got 1 extra villager, and he's up faster. But PLP did wheelbarrow. Okay, so that makes sense. I don't know if I like that castle position. I think building out here would make more sense, because then it defends the front of your base. Defends the gold a little bit in case you need to get to it. It prevents the monks from getting up this top side and harassing Razor, potentially. I don't think it's like a massive issue, but I think I would have preferred that ever so slightly. The Spanish player has now got a castle up, which is going to clean up this trush entirely. See, back at home, Flight has almost got the stone for a castle. He's, you know, not too far away from building his own castle, or hitting Castle Age and then building it. I guess he just drops it right here where his Scout and Archer are sitting at the moment. Usually the second TC. Okay, we're going to see the castle go up and the stable start to be added in between Toin. This 4-walk expansion continues. Yeah, so I think the big question mark at this point is forcing Razor to split his production between both Scouts and Knights. But I would think that he should kill both these monks without losing a Scout. Yeah, thanks, students. And like that's going to really hamper the early push from Mr. PLP. losing the first couple of monks when they're most useful. More concerned about the imminent trip war than taking space. I guess that makes sense. Okay, we see block printing coming in. I completely missed if he did Atonement. I assume that Soxy would have done Atonement on the way up, because otherwise his monks can't really do much. For me, the biggest worry is that with these Palisade walls, there's the potential... Okay, yeah, walling behind it makes a lot of sense. Because I would just be worried about the Night Flood from Toin Toin, you know, breaking a wall somewhere and then just killing his eco. Over on the top side. Okay. Not the biggest fan of this castle position, because Siscan can always just add in a petard or two and then break any of these walls on the other side. Whereas the castle's a little bit more central, it covers more of the wall, and he could easily just wall off its corner if he wanted to. But it does look like PLP is going to be stuck on only 2 trebs, because he's lost his castle. Oh, pops out at the very, very last second right there. Where he just picks up another monk and then just says, bye, I'm out. And yeah, Soxy is in... Soxy's defended this amazingly well, I must be honest. I don't know if he needs to keep mining stone this hard. I guess he can always just sell it for extra gold to keep making monks. Ooh. Okay, yeah, finishing this, re-walling this, I love that. I love that, to make sure that the Polish Night Flood can't get in there and mess him up. And then we see Razor has added in a 3rd TC, so he's slightly behind in villages compared to Toin Toin. But if we had a look at the stats, I imagine that he would be ahead in resources gathered. I think that's a stat here somewhere. Never mind. If it is there, I completely missed it. I'm not very good at these cap trade thingos. Night Flood is way too late, to be honest. I mean, I don't think it's that horrible, because the monks help a ton, right? Because Razor has to keep committing to making a mix of light cavs to fight the monks and knights to fight the knights, right? Whereas, if you're purely making knights, plus the support from the monks, means you're in a pretty decent position. And like, this is kind of why I wanted to have the castle over here, because it slightly hampers this whole, you know, just movement towards the pocket. But it does look like Teal is going to lose most of his monks right here, and then once the monks are gone, I think that Razor should be in a brilliant position. See Soxy coming in as well with his knights. Oh, he actually didn't do Atonement. I guess he just converts Green's knights instead, and then they just should be happy enough with that. I think the biggest issue is the fact that the blue player is fast imping. He did have conks and monks somewhere. I mean, like, these conks could have been over here trying to help out in this fight, to be honest. But Flightless Bird is going for a fast imp, it looks like. He's going for a 2nd monastery? I don't know if that's necessary. I'll just concentrate on Janny production, to be honest. Fast imping, yes indeed. Well, you know, a 30-minute imp isn't exactly a fast imp anymore. It's just an imp. But yeah, we do see that Fox does have a pretty solid army lead right now, mostly thanks to these conks coming over. And like, these conks are going to do a brilliant job at defending the monks. Right, because they're ranged, they can shoot down these light cav before they're able to snipe too many monks. I would love it if Soxy was a little bit more active with his trebs and potentially tried to kill these 2 monasteries. Because if these are gone, then all of a sudden PLP is not actually making any useful army. But yeah, we just look at the army count. Like, we've got 30 knights for poles, and we've got a mix of camels, light cav, and knights coming out for Razor. I thought I was talking about blue. No, blue is definitely not fast imping. Blue is heavy conk production while making eco. The question is Flight going to have enough army to actually push this versus the 2 castles and mass conks? And we also see that Green is on the way up to Imperial Age now behind this. I don't really like the outside fall walks, but he doesn't have a ton of space inside his base, so it does make sense. And yes, finally, we do actually see that monastery get taken down. Soxy's even converted one of the Aztec monks, which is cute. He could convert something with it, to be honest, while he's there. Oh, forward monastery is there. Getting further. I guess further helps the reinforcement time with all these monks coming in from the back of the base. You see forward stables coming in. The question is the Cavalier upgrade going to be enough to make the difference? Because Razor is quite far away from clicking up to Imperial Age. Still in the 3 TC boom at the moment. He's got a ton of villagers queued up, but he's not really that healthy in terms of gold income right now. And we just see another forward castle coming from PLP. But at any time, if they're able to take a good fight, Soxi's Trebs can just come out here and easily clean up these 4 buildings. I'm not sure if Razor's using his army to the best ability. Ideally, some of them are sitting in front of the Jannies trying to body block for him, but this castle is going to be denied, and it looks like a big fight just before Green hits him. Missing out on those Imperial Age upgrades, specifically Cavalier, but also +4 attack. I'm not sure if they need... I guess they're forced to commit to this if they want to try to get this World Castle. But it does look like Down Under has just bided their time, waited for the perfect moment, and then taken an absolutely amazing engagement. Where are the Trebs? I was hoping that the Trebs would come forwards and just, you know, kill the castle for good measure. The question is, does Razor just commit to the Castle Age army production? Or does he try to switch to Imperial Age? Okay, we do see actually Imperial Age coming in from Siscan. And while this is going on, Soxy is getting a bit of a boom going on. Going up for a 4th TC as well. I guess they don't need the Trebs, they're just going to kill it with Knights and Camels. Oh, there's one single monk there. I assume that someone's going to kill that. Yep, down he goes. Single bomber cannon. Yeah, see, like, the problem with this fast in play is that Blue just has such a huge army, and he's done, you know, the upgrades that I was saying earlier. And, like, all of a sudden, Kong's absolutely outclass Jannies, even without the huge numbers advantage. Because they're just a much stronger unit, but they're so much more expensive. Very nice decision making so far. The question is, how are they going to react to Siscan once he's got, you know, 30 or 40 Kongs with Trebs or bomber cannons backing it up? We see Aztecs is starting to switch into his own boom. Flightless Bird, I think he has to get a TC up pretty soon. Otherwise, he's going to be... Oh, I don't like this castle. I mean, I understand the reason behind it. He wants to get a forward position so that he can try to trip these castles down. And I guess if they know that Blue's army is preoccupied elsewhere, then maybe it's going to work out. I would just be so worried about, especially only using 7 vills. Like, I would be sending, you know, 15 or 20 vills to try to build this castle right here. Because if this castle doesn't go up, I think it's... And, like, house walling in is so useless when you know the skonks. But, like, I would be so worried, like, if this castle gets denied, I feel like it's almost GG on this side. We do see the Imperial Age starting to come in right here, but the Cavalier spam from the poles right now. Especially backed up, again, by the monks and the conks. We don't have a very, very large army at all from Soxy right now. He's got a couple of monks. He's switching into halberdiers, it seems. Definitely a good call. And he does have the ego to back that up and be able to afford helps. Unfortunately, this castle looks like it's just going to get absolutely shredded by these Cavaliers right now. Lightspur does get his castle up, but we just see, look at how many conks Blue has, right? He's going to have 30 conks, he's going to have some Trebs on the way, he's potentially going to have bomber cannon soon as well. And Flight can just never take a fight here because there's so many numbers against him. I guess, in theory, if Razor came to help out, it might be decent, but when Razor comes, somebody else is following. Potentially these Lycav could jump on some of these monks, which would be pretty nice. But Razor did lose this castle, he's lost a bunch of villages as well that were garrisoned inside it. He's going for murder. Oh, and he's got a hole at the front of his base. He delayed this wall earlier to try to get his army out, and then all of a sudden Green is just going to start raiding into his farming eco just as he hits him, just as he wants to start getting all of those upgrades. He really needs to chuck up some houses there to block that. Or maybe that was petarded. Green did have petard, so he may have just petarded that in. Never mind, he didn't delete that. I take back my false statement. And we do see that the 3 Trebs are going to kill this castle incredibly quickly, and just there's so much army on the field for Fox right now. They've got double the army while having equal vills. And just conks, they're such a good unit as they get all their upgrades. Like, it's really interesting, they're really, really strong in early Castle Age on maps like Nomad, where their mobility is king, and then they become really, really strong towards the end of Castle Age, early Imperial Age, because they've got so many stats. And then they eventually start to fall off again in Imperial Age, when they just get outmassed by things like Arbalest with extra range and extra damage, or Paladins, where they're just even stronger. But the raids through Razor space are continuing. He has lost a bunch of villages there. Ooh, that's a horrible KD right now. We see a pause coming in. The Helbs from Soxy are starting to get out and about. How many relics? Somebody has been picking up the relics, I just don't know who. Blue. Sensible enough. He's making expensive units in Conks and Siege, so getting 5 relics for himself to get that extra gold income. Boosted, of course, by the Aztec teammate. I do sort of wonder who has gone for the pause. Is it someone pausing to try to regroup and figure out what to do? Oh, there we are. Sorry, I was paused by the Fox team. Yeah, it looks like Flight is just going to get defeated right here. He's rushing a uni, probably for fortified wall, but there's so much siege outside his base that they're just going to instantly kill any buildings in the way, and then there's a huge army waiting to dive into his eco. And he's trying to get up to 40 Cs now, but it's just a little bit too little too late at this stage, to be honest. Just like palisade walls and houses that can be easily killed by anything right now. And because Raiz has been denied from this gold, he's probably, he's starting to run low on gold, so he's forced to be making a ton of light cav. Which, it's not the end of the world against the monks, but compared to the Imperial Age units in Elite Conks and the Poles Cavalier spam, they're just not going to be a strong enough unit. He definitely needs Hussar if he wants to stick going. Stick with the trash cavalry. We see Soxy starting to march across the map with his helms. But then the problem with the students are that they are a slow civ. And it seems like Flightless, he very much needs to rush up from stone walls behind his house. Like, I think as soon as these Cavalier get in, I think it's game over. If it wasn't already. Yep, the house is down. Flight is just going to lose all of his eco right now. And there isn't really anything that they can do to help out. Like, there's some light cap trying to sneak in from the back and snipe a couple of the monks. But the monks are not the problem. The problem are, the 30 Cavaliers and 40-odd Conquistadors roaming around the outside of his base. And we see Soxy just sort of really unsure what to do at the moment. It looks, there was a push going forwards and he's just been cleaned up by the Polish Cavalier mass. His helms were potentially a little bit out of position. Yeah, he's got no health here, and then there's gonna be a big wave of green Cavalier came in to clean that up. And then we do see Razor trying to come in right now to save Flight, but he's down to 50 vills. Almost all of them are just garrisoning his TC, doing absolutely nothing right now. And then while this is going on, just the big conk mass just continues to increase. The Cavaliers are just constantly running over the map, and because of the army mass that Fox have, they have massive map control, so they can just freely take the extra golds and stones throughout the middle of the map. They're even starting up naked trade with like no middle walls, which is very ballsy. But I guess they're just sort of trying to lock themselves in to the late game win. I don't think it's really necessary. They've got a huge relic lead. They've obviously got all the middle golds and stones. Trade was not. I mean, I can't really criticize them when they won that so convincingly. And I do guess as the Aztecs, your army comp is going to fall off really hard. So if you're the one who's sacrificing yourself a little bit to start up trade, and then you can just sling the gold to the rest of your teammates who are making better units, that makes quite a bit of sense. Oh, well, we're going to jump outside. So that was a loss with pick 1. And that pick. And Shootens. Whereas they won with Aztecs that we gave them. Spanish, that was a late pick. And Poles, which was a late pick as well. Unfortunately, I have to say that Fox has been using their civs really well at the moment. I didn't think that the Aztec pick would work out there. And losing, obviously, the home map hurts. But I guess it does make sense, because I think they probably planned to use Bengalis in that role. But if that's the case, why wouldn't you just pick Aztecs? So I'm just trying to figure out why they went for the Bengali play. Or the Bengali switcheroo. I do assume that we're going to go into BF next. I don't really see any particularly scary civs for BF. I guess Goths is a pretty good pocket. Not probably. It is a pretty good pocket. Um, Lithuanians is probably a decent flank. I think the question for me now is, what do they do with Burgundians? Because I would have expected Burgundians would maybe be the arena pocket, and then you have something like Poles trushing on the flank. Because I don't think Burgundians are particularly strong BF Civ. I don't. I think they're a very, very risky pocket to use on a lot of other maps because they don't have bloodlines in feudal age. So if you're committing to if you're forced to commit into a large feudal fight, then they fall off pretty hard. Well, I need to go share the lobby code. Burgundians TI pocket with a big fish boom. See you, Nerfox. Nice to see you. I guess that could make some sense. Burgundians, you go for a fish boom, but then, like, you're still lacking bloodlines, right? If you're playing either defensive scouts to like defend a landing, and you're obviously not fish booming if you're going for the landing, right? So I'm not entirely sure that's the best idea. I could see it making a lot more sense in a 4v4 situation where you can afford to have one player sacrificing a little bit of army potentially to maximize their ego. But in 3v3, I feel like the pocket player is so incredibly important at defending the landing or, conducting a landing, something along those lines, that I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I think it's just a little bit of a risk, to be honest. Hey, Loela, how's it going? Like, my worry if I was a Burgundian pocket on Team Islands is that the enemy pocket, like, if I don't instantly clean the landing, assuming that there is a landing, of course, that they just commit to, like, heavy feudal age, right? They do scouts plus archers, they get bloodlines on their scouts, and they're just completely all over my eco. And then it's really hard to fish boom when you lose access to, half your woodline, sort of a situation. Oh, thank you for the sub, man. Very much appreciated. Okay, but we are going to go into BF next, which does make sense. It is our other home map. We are seeing a sub, or a switcheroo, I should say. We've got Chris, the big Chris, coming in for BF. We've got Bird subbing out. Gotta add to that 4 hour admin salary. I mean, if I was actually adminning any tournaments at the moment, then I would be on 4 hours. $4 an hour. But, that's not the case. I'm currently on the unemployed dollars per hour. Let me just think through these BF sips again. Portuguese, Lithuanians, and Goths, I think would make a lot of sense. Maybe Portuguese, Malay, and Goths. Or maybe Romans. Portuguese, Romans, and Goths. You got two infantry civs though, that feels a bit weird. But then they don't have an SO civ, right? Because Aztecs was their only SO. I guess Ethiopians could be an SO civ. But there's no way that I believe that they picked Ethiopians this early with the plan of using them on BF. That just seems suicidal. Well, maybe not suicidal, but like it seems like a very poor idea. Like, there's such an incredibly strong flank civ on any open land map. that using them for a BF pocket to boom into Helb SO seems sus. Like you could easily pick up Celts at the end of the draft, right? And done the exact same thing for essentially no cost instead of having to early pick Ethiopians like that. Okay, so we've got Malay, Burgundians, and Portuguese. Hmm. Hmm. And they're against Bohemians, Byzantines, and Mongols. I mean, I think the late game power of Bohemians and Mongols seems pretty difficult to stop. So I guess the Fox in that case just has to play aggressively. Potentially they try to go for an early sneak of some description. Maybe they do some sort of fast feudal plays, man at arm towers, something like that. You have ports and not using them on TA. Um, it definitely gives them an extra layer of inevitability on TA islands, preventing the game from going too long. I I wouldn't hate that, but it's just they don't have any good other flank civs, right? I guess Lithuanians maybe, but they kind of need that as a pocket civ for Desert Paradise, it seems. Why does the Capture Age scoreboard remove the bloody icons every single time? It's a little bit frustrating. Oh, we'll jump into the game. We're going into game number 3. Hey Stiffy, how's it going? The odds draft tournament is going pretty great, to be honest. I think everyone's having a great time. We've got lots of people having fun and improving in the community. But this time we've got BF and holy balls. This top side is a bit of a mess. Not a lot to see there, to be honest. I think the wall fight or the wall engagement on this bottom side is going to be far more interesting. We see the boxing gloves coming out right there. Only sending a single villager is a little ballsy. I guess if he quick taps all these walls, then he's fine. Is this adminry? 1, 2, 3 pawns. Um, are they asking or are we asking?
Yes.
Well, they didn't play on the Rage Forest version, so there's no guarantee of having fair pawns. So like that's their problem for playing on normal BF, right? If you don't play Rage Forest, then you're just sort of accepting the fact that there is a very large amount of RNG involved. But they are going to go for a restart now and switch to Rage Forest, which means that now I need to go send another lobby code. Everyone should be allowed their own nice pawns. I mean, I think that's one of the problems with using the Rage Forest script for 3v3, is correct me if I'm wrong, if there's anybody that knows otherwise, but my belief is that it doesn't change the way the pawns spawn. So you still have a decent chance of having 4 pawns, even with only 3 players, which is a bit, funky. If you have a pocket with like 3 pawns or something, it's. I mean, I don't know if it really make that much of a difference. It's a little bit smoother at the start, I guess, because you can delay fish traps for a little bit. Isn't it for 4v4 only? It's definitely designed and specifically balanced around 4v4. But I do believe that it'll play relatively okay for 3v3. It'll still have fair pawns, it's just sometimes you'll have 4 pawns for 3 players. Which is, you know, a bit funky. Australia down 2 again. I mean, feels bad, man. Mr. Zane. Can't win every time, unfortunately. So we're gonna have Razor, Chris, Soxy, playing as Biz, Mongols, and Bohemians. Oh, and the restart is going. Let's just leave the game so that I can join the next one. Come on, D. Ugh. Why does D have to freeze? Let me just Alt F4 out of that. And we'll just relaunch D quickly. No worries. Oh, what the fuck? They even had Malay Pocket and Burgundians on the flank. I didn't even realize that until just now. What in the world? Why would you have Malay Pocket on BF? I was letting Fox win their own tournament. Yeah. That's the plan. We're just nice people, you know. We don't want to interrupt their own tournament. We don't want to make them feel bad about it, you know. But why the fuck would you play Malay as Pocket and then have Burgundians on flank? That seems very unoptimized. Okay, we're getting into the restore or the restart, I should say. It's not a restore. Let me just put the bloody logos back on because they keep turning off. And then we'll jump into Capture Age. Okay, pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, as I said, sometimes you have 4 pawns for 3-3, and then, huzzah, we have it. At the top of the map, we've got Soxy playing as the Bohemians. Incredibly open. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, like, Man-at-Arms or just get archers, almost. Chris as the Mongol Pocket. He's got 1 nice pond, and I guess he could potentially take either of these ones as a second pond if he wanted to. And then down on the bottom side, we have Razor as the Byzantines. Yeah, Blue's just quick tapping these walls. He should lose his scout here if Chris is paying attention. Razor's trying to progress the walls forwards a little bit. But I think otherwise he's just going to sit back. I do quite like the way that he's going about it. Just completely bash all of them down so you get 1 line further forwards. It's an interesting play for sure. At some point the middle is going to have to be walls. They all have pawns, yes. The difference is though, like the green player, the Malay, has 2 pawns that are very easily accessible. Whereas Chris's second pond is a little bit harder to access. But he gets fucking 12 extra boar as Mongols. So I think that's a fair enough trade. Mongols with plus 12 boar seems pretty bloody good. That is... It's a large amount of food for the Mongol player. I mean, he could probably just place... If he, like, instantly sends Vils and starts luring these boar, he could probably do, like, you know, 19 pop scouts, and then click up to Castle Age at minute 25 or at pop 25 while constantly making bills, sort of thing. Because you just have so much bloody food under the TC. But in that case, he's not using the pond, which is a little bit tricky. Blue did lose his scout in the end, as expected. We're not rushing the middle walls yet. And then, obviously, there's no real heavy attempts to wall this top side. Ooh. You're still going for a dock, even though it's this open? I don't know if that's a good idea, my friend. I think you have to commit to playing Feudal Age before you try to take the pond, especially if it's a very shit pond like this where there's only 2 shorefish. Like, it's a little bit unfortunate for Green that both of his ponds are only 2, whereas almost all of the other ponds on the map are 3 fish. Like, yeah, their team has 3 ponds with 2 fish. It's a little bit rough. Soxy's even trying to steal a boar. I don't think that's a great idea, if I'm being honest. It is explored, right? As long as his scout is still alive, he can quite easily, you know, try to stop this. And they are playing on West US, so I believe that both teams should have approximately 170 ping or so. And he's like right on the edge of losing the boar here. And even if he doesn't, I think Teal is just going to kill his scout before he gets there. Because he took 3 hits from the boar, potentially, when he was trying to start the lane. Yeah, I think he just needs to give up the lane at this point, because he's not going to get it. I mean, I guess he's just trying to get the ball close enough that his villager can try to pick it up. But yeah, the ball just goes back. So rough. But we do see 18 pop on the way up, so he's just going to get archers, it seems. Chris has gone for a mill instead of a dock, so yeah, he's up as well. So they're just going to play it essentially like a rapier on the side. No walls yet through the middle. I wonder where Blue's villa's going. He's going to try to... That is an ambitious wall, considering that you don't have a scout. Like, he could quite easily just walk into another wolf up this way. And, like, Chris is just going to build a barracks and a stable up here. And, like, as long as his scout... I guess... Oh, no. Is he going to lure a boar instead? With his scout, instead of being here to block this wall? Where's the scout going? Oh, he's going to go pick up his 2 sheep. That's unfortunate timing. Oh, is he going to see it? Oh. Well, I guess it means his buildings are going to be in a good position. Right? They're on the outside of the wall, not the inside. But his barracks is going to be late as well, by the way. And what are you thinking, my man? This wall is never going to stay up. What? What in the world? I mean, especially if you see that your opponent's already hit Feudal Age. Like, why would you even commit to trying to build this wall? I mean, I guess you know that your guy has a weak scout, so he can't, like, snipe your villager, which is pretty good. Oh, yeah, Chris has actually noticed this now. Maybe Blue thinks that he's in a really good position and he's, like, blocked off a scout rush or something. Little does he know that Chris is over here. Is Teal going to get this wall up, though? It'd be so nice if Chris's scout was here, though. Oh, the spearman. Hopefully the spearman goes forwards. No, he just walled the spearman in. Maybe the spear either has to go kill this field or it needs to go forwards right now. Yeah, Teal's like, oh shit. that is a stable. Panic. Panic. Foxy's even going for this. I don't think you need the tower. You've already got archers. Just bash it down with your bills. And use the archer to deny it. Like, you're wasting 30 to 40 seconds building a tower instead. Especially with, like, Chris's scouts. Soon to be here. Blue gets this wall up. Right now, Chris is going for one of the ponds. He's going to have to delete his house, though, to get his scout out, which is unfortunate. Yeah, like, I don't like the fact that they're both trying to break different sides. I guess the problem with trying to push this bottom side is that Teal can quite easily re-wall this back here. The Malay player is really fast feudal. It looks like he's going to go for a feudal fish boom. Yeah, because he's only just going to gold now. He's already starting to place fish traps. Which I guess does make sense because his pond is a little bit short on fish. I would hope that pretty soon Chris I would hope that he doesn't make too many more scouts, if I'm being honest. And instead, you know, gets on gold and starts preparing for Castle Age. Oh my god, if Teal manages to win this out, he is an absolute god. Oh, Combat Disco, thank you for the raid, my man. Very much appreciated. Alright, Chris is going for the gate again. Now, scouts should just get sniped. Stream delay. There's a little bit of a delay on the alerts for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, he deleted the barracks. He didn't want to get housed, so he deleted the barracks. I guess that makes sense. Down on the bottom side. Blue is just going for his FC. Razor is also going for his FC, using his pond quite nicely. So we do see a significant Vil lead for Team Fox already. But that's almost entirely because of the melee fish boom, whereas Chris is only just now starting to use his two ponds. And I guess the Teal has just done an absolutely amazing job at defending this. I did not think that a single layer of walls was ever going to work on this side. But I guess like that's the issue with Soxy wasting his scout HP trying to lame a boar. I think if he'd kept his scout at you know, full HP, he could have quite easily attempted to delay this wall. Or at least had vision and known that it was coming. Alright. We see Teal committing to more towers. He's also got the Castle Age Bowser upgrade for his wood. Starting to get up the fish traps. I really don't like the dock position, but I guess it's a bit rough for him, considering how flat his pond is. Oh, and we're in. Let's go, go, go. Chris. Oh! Oh, he tried. He tried so hard. The two towers are in range of each other, so you can't just sit underneath this tower and destroy it. But I would just say, screw it, we're going past. A couple of the archers, you just go to the pond. Like, yeah, I would just ignore these towers. I guess they want to make sure that they don't get walls in, and that they can't, like, wall out the reinforcements. I guess that doesn't make sense. And then instead they can transition to killing Eco afterwards. But we do see Green on the way up to Castle Age. He's going up for a barracks. I guess he goes for Castle Age battle elements as his defensive option. Razor is the first one up to Castle Age. He's going for a siege workshop. Blue does not have a outpost. Oh, Razor's going for a fast imp. Mug siege. Nice. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. The fish eco definitely helps you get the fast imp going. And then now Teal is just going to lose so many villagers. Soxy's archers are on the other side. They're probably not going to get past the TC. But like, you know, he just needs to send one or two archers over to the dock to kill the fish and the fish traps. See a siege workshop. I don't know. I guess siege does make some sense. Get a mangonel out, some scorpions. The double tower. I guess he's just trying to deny the fish boom from Soxy. I mean, Soxy's not going to fish boom here. I don't know why he built the dock, honestly. Like, you can deny this dock just as well with your archers, without requiring, you know, a 200 and something wood investment and 45 gold to make a dock at a fire ship. It does look like Green is just going to semi-fast imp behind this. But I think he's underestimating the melee eco. Like, the fishing ships, they're definitely strong, but what are you going to make in Imperial Age? Off the back of, you know, not that many villagers, and not that many fish either. We do see the Imperial Age well on the way. We've got the uni coming up so we can get chemistry and make bomber cannons following that. We do see a second TC on some extra wood and gold. He's not massively abusing the pond. He's just made a couple of fish to get him going. Blue looks like he's going for a much stronger fish boom, which is, with the full map information that we have, is quite a big mistake, because he's just going to get instantly pushed and then lose this pond and lose all the fish in it. Back here, Chris is also not heavily abusing his ponds. You know, he's made 4 and 6 fish in each, and then instead he's just getting his TCs going. Mining stone. He might make some more fish, but he has got a few farms. He does have horse collar as well already. And then Soxy has now started to get up stone walls. Yeah, Teal's just constantly being forced into building defensive towers all over the place. The archers, honestly, you could come just sit behind this house with these scouts. Keep trying to break into the wood line. Okay, we're going for arbs from the melee player. I mean, I think as long as Soxy builds enough layers of walls, I think they're probably fine. The arbs might be a little bit of an issue though for Razor, because monks are not particularly amazing against. Oh, look at that lovely conversion! Just cleaning, taking one mangonel, instantly turning around and killing another one, and then killing a monk as well. I would say just turn. I would come back this way, I think, and just try to bash down these walls with the mangonel. That was Pog. Yeah, that was a sick move. Hey, Ugly, how's it going? Thank you for the down under logo, by the way. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it is here. Okay, when you see the crossbows starting to move forwards, no ballistics, so there is the potential for out microing. Soxy's even committed to double fire galleys tonight this pond. I guess that's such an overinvestment, I think. Not really what was necessary. Okay, we see forward siege workshop coming out for Toin Toin. He does have a siege workshop at home though. He could have already made a mangonel or something if he really wanted to try to get through this wall. But Soxy's doing the smart thing. He's starting to layer up more stone walls to try to prevent the push coming into his base. He's very, very late up to castle age though. Is going to be the issue. We see that Teal's halfway up already. He has got absolutely no food whatsoever. He's also not heavily on gold, so he can't just buy his way up with Bohemians. He's transitioning into a bit of a late fish boom. I don't think that's the best idea. I mean, probably just like one dock and you make 4 or 5 fish, and then concentrate on making more farms or just buying your way up to imp. Would have been a little bit more effective. You see Soxy keeping a couple of the archers alive for later in the game. Potentially be a bit of a pain at some point. You see the bombard cannons starting to come out for Mr. Razor. He needed to make a mangonel, I think, on the way up to Imperial Age. Or like while he was doing chemistry, just to start working on these walls. Because at this point, Blue's just got... he has enough time to build a ton of wall layers, basically. And just delay and delay and delay. And Razor's only on the 2TC eco, so he's on 50 vills and 9 fish. Whereas we see Blue... I mean, Blue's actually not that far off. Blue's not even really ahead of that, because he's only on the 1TC himself. And not very close to fast imping at all. Is it the same Fox team that has the French players? Yes, it is. That is the one. It's the B team, as it were. It doesn't have Sito or Makugu or Mihai. It's... yeah, the second layer team, as it were. We see Chris also getting involved, getting some stone walls up to the middle. Just to try to buy time to prevent these Arbalests from getting involved, breaking into somebody's eco. Because there is some level of inevitability about this game. Because eventually, if it goes late enough, Mongols or Bohemians should just hard carry. The issue is, these are only feudal age stone walls from Soxy. They've only got 1080 HP instead of 1800, and you can't get fortified wall either. So it's definitely a little bit of a risk, although to be fair, Green's not really microing very well. He's killing a mining camp instead of anything more useful. He is now starting to go for Onager. Chris could try to wall all the way around this pond. I don't think that's a very great idea, because I can always just bust through here and find some way in. Is this a practice game or a qualifier? This is not Rising Teams. This is a sort of an invitational show match that involves Fox, ourselves, Team Pub from Great Britain, and Denmark. Yeah, so it's more of just a show match. There's like hardly any money on the line. It's just, you know, some practice team games, really. So I guess technically it is practice. But we agreed to play this tournament before Rising Teams was known about. Oh, and Green is in. Chris is on the way up to Imperial Age, but is Soxy going to just die before then? I think he needs to run bills already. Yep, these will they need to run. Chris is going for blacksmith because he needs upgrades. He's only got a single castle though. This might be dicey. This might be dicey. Raises push. I mean, it's doing okay, but blue is now in Imperial Age. He's going to get a bunch of monk upgrades, it seems. We see Raids also going for the monk upgrades. Blue, come on. Oh, they're all queued up behind monks. He's trying to make too many units and he can't get the upgrades. Oh, that's funny. Okay, he's recognized the problem. He just cancelled them all. Okay, but there are just big monk numbers already for blue. We do have Theocracy and Illumination coming in, but there's only 2 monasteries for Razor versus many for blue. Potentially, if we're not paying attention, this Mangonel could... Yep, it just goes down. Has he got Heresy? Or did he delete that? Nope, he just deleted it. Fair enough. Soxy, though, has 4 villages. Well, I mean, technically he has more than 4. Those ones are still over there. But yeah, this is why I didn't like transitioning into the Feudal Fish Boom. Because it just slows down your castle age far too much, and it's much too risky of any sort of aggressive play coming in and just destroying you and killing you off before you really get the value out of the Fish Boom. Similar thing for blue, where he hasn't committed as hard, so I think it's kind of okay. Oh, but Razor, where's the... Where are the monk juices? All these monks have juice, I think. He does lose a bomber cannon, though. This is just silly. It's just the ultimate, you know, thing that MBL hates. I can vote 1 monk, you can vote 1 monk back. Oh, and the position that Soxy decided to build a TC in is just instantly being attacked. Chris is just going straight into Onager with drill and siege engineers. I think that's probably the best decision, to be honest. He would need far too many Mangadai to be able to easily fight this early force. Where are these villages going? Are they just going to gold? Yeah, they are. It does look like Razor is just absolutely destroying blue at the moment. But, yeah. You see, this is nice. Like, the teal player has a pretty solid eco at this point. He's got 4 TCs. So now he's just sending Light Cav over to the side to try to fight Razor. But Razor is making Spearmen. He's got a bunch of barracks. He just needs to get, like, he needs to get pikemen out of one of them at some point. What are you up to in life? I'm casting Australian tournaments at the moment. That's my main priority. Oh, but 2 bomber cannons get converted there. Blue is just all in on just spamming out as many monks as possible to defend. He hasn't even got a TC at the moment. He's not making any eco whatsoever. It's just full monks to defend for as long as possible. Whereas on this other side... Oh, no, they didn't wall down here. Oh, that's unfortunate. Chris is all in on just trying to get Onager's teams to... I guess just take as many good trades as possible against Toin Toin's army, while he eventually starts massing up Mangadai. Oh, Snedo, thank you for the sub. You know, if you do have Amazon Prime, you can always sub for free if you feel like it. It's a way to steal some money away from Bezos and give it to us. Are you also on Team Daniel? I am. I'm not for this specific tournament. Because we were limited to 6 players per team, and there were 6 other interested players, and I figured, well, I can just cast it, that's fine. I can just cut... Well, yes, but, you know, currently Green doesn't have an Onager at the front, right? So if this was walled, he has to split his Onagers down south to make a cut, and these Arbs can't just walk past, you know? I mean, he did have Onagers, yes, but if he's busy dealing with Chris, he can't just, you know, waltz down there to do that. Is the issue. He did, Robo, what do you want about? Stop fighting my point. Okay. I mean, okay. We'll stop discussing. The monks and the light cabs though are doing a pretty good job here, trying to, yeah, like every time the light cabs get involved and distract Razor, he loses another bomber cannon to the monks. The light cab's now just going to go pick off the reinforcements, so it does seem like Razor's push is heavily stalled out at this point. Yeah, all the bomber cannons are about to go. He probably should delete these instead of giving his opponent, you know, 6 bomber cannons that he can use for his own purposes. Chris now is getting capped ram. He's continuing to get Mankadite upgrades. He's got not that many onages, to be honest. The tricky situation here is just the bombard cannons from Toin Toin. Oh, the Arbalists have just walked into a castle and died. That's pretty nice. I guess the follow-up issue is going to be that Fox does have access to all the golds and stones in the base that was previously Soxy's. And they're even picking off the handful of villages that were trying to put up there. But Chris, it seems, is just big planning a huge siege push. He's massing onages, he's massing rams, he's not even going for trebs. He could make a couple of Mangadite, to be honest. They might come in handy. Oh, there's a single Arbalest out of range of the castle, so you just get the boxing gloves out and off you go. But yeah, Teal has actually played this really well. Oh, Teal and Blue. Like, between the two of them, they weathered the storm. Blue took a ton of damage, but eventually they had the army numbers that they needed to take a great engagement and clean up Razor's attacking force. Razor has a decent eco behind this, but he really needs to get Halbs and maybe even his own Hussar to try to snipe the huge mass of blue monks that Siscan has. He's just going full clown right now. Oh, but we did actually miss the siege push starting to charge into Green's forward. It does look like Green's going to lose this forward position. Will Chris be able to hard carry this with the power of Mongols? I mean, probably. The issue is going to be setting up trade. Like, Razor's going to need to be able to market down here, and I guess Chris builds a market up here, and then just short trade to begin with. They're also yoinking one of these forward stones. They're actually sharing the stone, funnily enough. But yeah, now Chris should just be able to roll back, and we do see Elite Mankadite and Parthian Tactics coming in. Woohoo! Let's go, Chris. He's got the carry pants on today. I guess he doesn't want to... He's thinking about committing? I mean, I guess the pathing of the Rams is a little bit chunky, trying to get through this very, very narrow gap. Are we going to see big onager shots, though, coming in from Green? Yes, somewhat. The Rams are just right-clicking the onagers, though. And then the Magadai can come in and just start shooting things around the back. He's trying to convert a Ram. he converted a Ram. That's not something that you see every day. I'll be honest. We just see mad selling right now for a very tiny amount of gold. So they definitely need to think about starting trade soon. The problem is, Razor. Just look at the huge mass of monks right here. We see Paladin coming in from Teal. I think the Paladin might be a little bit too much for Chris to handle right now. Because he can't really afford to start heavily investing in trade. Neither can Razor, and then Soxy just doesn't have any gold whatsoever. And he also just has no space. So... I think that Fox has played this incredibly well. And now these Lycav are just going for a raid, it seems. Razor did actually lose his pond, by the way, when the Arbs came in earlier. But I think that, oh, Chris is even going for Lycav. I guess that makes sense, because of these gold issues. He needs something, and really all the Mongols can make are Hussars. And will also potentially help out with Blue's scary monk problem, but now we see a bunch of hand cannons coming in to support the monks. I think we're going... I don't think we're winning this game at this point, to be honest. As an unbiased caster, I mean, we do have a Vil lead, but we're also 100 army behind, so 50 Vils for 100 army is not exactly the best trade, in my opinion. Just like, yeah, like the fact that Fox has 3 corners, they've got all this extra gold and stone, even extra relics as well. As soon as Teal can get like 40 or 50 Paladin, I think the game is over, but I'm not really sure how Razor's going to defend this either. Blue just stole far too many bombard cannons from him, which has given him a ready-made push. And then the helps that he's trying to make are just getting absolutely cleaned up by hand cannons now. If we don't look at P6's base, we can believe. His base is very cute, you know? Look at it. It's so cozy. It looks like he's going to make skirms, potentially, to try to help out. Teal's trying to push around that top side. I don't know if that's necessary, to be honest. I think just his Paladin sitting in front of Green's Arbs is probably all that he needs, to be honest. Oh, but he does actually lose a bunch of the bomber cannons right there. But at the cost of almost all of Razor's army. Razor is heavily housed right now, it seems. Thanks to losing so many of his buildings to the ongoing push. Push is still stalled behind the walls. Chris is actually pushing back really powerfully right now. He's getting up to solid Mangadai numbers. He can clean up a bunch of these forward buildings. Yep, Soxy is going into elite skirms. Why does it show Chris as Canadian on Wikipedia? Because he is Canadian. He just has been living in Australia for the past 8 years? 8, maybe not that much, maybe like the last 6 or 7, something like that. But, oh, we do see big engagement. We see the light cabs wrapping around the back, trying to clean up all the monks, which is going to do really, really well. But the problem is the hand cannons, right? The helms do absolutely nothing in this engagement. I guess Soxy sending skirms down to the bottom might help out as something to potentially kill hand cannons, but there are still the bomber cannons to worry about. Oh yeah, Chris is just like, yep, we need to take back this space so that I can get access to gold. That is his only priority right there. What's his accent like? That's what matters most. He is from the French part of Canada, I believe, so he's got a little bit of a... What are you doing, Green? What? Soxy, the man's trying to build archery engines in your farm eco. Yeah, so he's got a little bit of a... Yeah, he's got a big amalgamation of Aussie, English, and French accents. Oh, Teal did eventually break through this top side. And now there are just big light cab and paladin raids in the back of the space. We just see the Hussar tech coming in now for Razor. But they are Hussar without bloodlines. And just this many hand cannons are just going to absolutely shred small numbers of units like this. They just deal so much damage. DPS is absolutely crazy. Where are Chris Mangadai right now? There's some at the top and there's some streaming down here to try to help out. But like, even 15 Mangadai is, I think, not absolutely amazing against this many hand cannons. he's building a guard tower to snipe farming eco. And it's even out of range of the TC, so Soxy can't even just kill it. Chris has cleaned up most of his base, but in exchange he has lost that forward position that he worked so hard to try to recover and get access to the golds. Soxy tried to get some walls up to the middle, but the skirms and paladin are continuing to push. They are actually pushing back blue. The elite skirms coming in from Soxy is doing a pretty good job. He is on the way up to the Imperial Age himself. His very flimsy eco, though, is definitely not in the best position right now. And he's not going to have any gold as well once he hits Imperial Age to actually afford... Oh, he's got... Okay, he's got 400 gold from somewhere. I don't know where. He's got 400 gold that he can use to get a few of the upgrades that he needs. I hope he goes yeah, nah, yeah, nah. I mean, every Aussie goes yeah, nah. Or nah, yeah. Depending on the circumstances. Chris probably needs to re-wall this to prevent just constant raids of Paladin into his farming eco. And we do actually see trade starting to be set up for Team Fox. We've got a blue market here. I don't like Teal's market positions at all. Like, I would just delete a farm and build it back this way. I think that would have been a much more sensible position. But yeah, it's the army count is not looking great at the moment. That's really all I can say. Chris is continuing to, you know, just be the Mongols with Mangadai. But I mean, honestly, Soxy should probably make a monastery and pick up that relic just for some gold income. You know, eventually he'll be able to afford more upgrades then. It seems like the game is starting to stall out to a position where Chris is not actually able to full carry anymore. Especially as he's not going to have any more gold income. Right, he's got 0 on gold, he doesn't even have any gold in the bank to make trade. Even if he could make trade, it is in no way possible going to be safe to trade. Sounds like he's an authentic Australian. I mean, we have definitely adopted him, he is one of us now. Yeah, and like, just, this army comp is like the one thing that does incredibly well against Mangadai. You know, high PS armor, tanky units like Paladin, backed up by pretty decent range DPS behind it. I mean, other than orange shots, but there we do see the GG being called. And unfortunately, that is a That is a 3-0 for the Baguettes. Well, I shouldn't say for the Baguettes. For the for the Fox team. Yeah, that game is rough, especially like those Mongols, Bohemians, two very very high civ picks, and then Byzantines, not the highest, but losing to Malayan Burgundians is not a very great feeling, to be honest.